I am a twin. I have a twin brother, and our whole life we have been asked the same question. Or I should say, my whole life I have been asked, what's it like to be a twin? And I would say, compared to what? Like, I don't have any other life to compare this life that I have to. I only know what it's like to be a twin. What's it like to be a single? This is a great example of why self-discovery and self-knowledge are important. My name is Mad, and this is Quirky Seeker. When I was a summer camp counselor, I learned about some different personality typing systems. In one, I think I was like an otter. There was like a golden retriever. Not 100% sure what that one was about. I don't remember it very well. Then when I went to my first semester of college, I had access to counseling services that used the tool MBTI, Myers-Briggs Type Indicator, which is a really popular one out there that nowadays it's just pop culture. Everybody knows about it. I don't know a lot of people that really know or understand what all the 16 types are about. So my test came back and my counselor told me I'm an ENFP, and she gave me a whole stack of paperwork that sometimes I still try to read through. Like, what was she trying to tell me? What was I supposed to get out of this? All I really got out of it was a sense of angst, feeling completely misunderstood, and the realization that the world sees me differently than I see myself. That there's something inside of me that everyone that I know is not experiencing. I've spent a lot of time trying to convince people that I am not an extrovert, I am an introvert, and pretty much nobody listens to me, so I've gotten kind of used to that. If you've been around Quirky Seeker for a little while, you may have seen my video up about Gretchen Rubin's 4 tendencies. That was really cool to learn about and read about. I feel like it started a lot of really good conversations with my people, but nothing that I had experienced so far could have prepared me for the magnificence that is the Enneagram. The Enneagram has been gaining popularity a lot recently. I've been hearing about it on podcasts. People are writing songs about it. I don't know where I really first heard about the Enneagram. It's kind of online places, and it's kind of recommended that you take a test, and there's a lot of tests online that you can go and take. That's all well and good. For me, it was kind of just like, what's your Disney character? What's your Enneagram type? I took the test. I didn't really understand the system or its fluidity, the way that it could have deeper impact on my life. Forgot what type the test even told me I was, and I just went on with my life. In fact, I'm guessing I probably took an Enneagram test on a couple of different occasions. I was just so dissatisfied with the results that I said, I'll get into this another time. Back when I was getting really into Gretchen Rubin's 4 tendencies, a friend of mine said, hey, have you checked out the Enneagram? Do you know what your number is? And I said, He said, well, if you're going to get into it, I would suggest reading a book about it, or really going and hearing it taught orally, because that's the tradition of the Enneagram, is that it's a teaching that's given. I was like, well, I don't have time for that, and I'm in the middle of this thing right now, and maybe later. So months and months and months later, a different friend said to me, do you all know your Enneagram numbers? And I said, well, I've got some time. So we tried to figure out what we were, and it was an interesting conversation that left me walking away feeling completely misunderstood, continually at odds with myself. Why is there a disconnect? Another personality typing system that has just let me down, hasn't been able to help anybody understand me better, hasn't been able to help me understand me better. Then someone recommended that I listen to one podcast episode. It's the Liturgist podcast, and they had an episode where they had on 2 Enneagram teachers who had just released a book, and they came on to talk through, just do like a real quick talk through the 9 Enneagram types and talk about the Enneagram in general. Now, I'm the type of person who likes to go into a store, look at everything that's in the store, and then go back to the things that I thought I might want to buy and give them a second look. I'm a person who likes to know what all of my options are for lunch and then pick which restaurant I want to go to. I need to have all the information first before I can really know what it is that I think or what it is that I want. And so I was listening to this podcast and they started to go through describing the different types. They described ones and I thought some of that resonates with me. They described twos and I thought some of that resonates with me. And they described threes and I thought some of that resonates with me. And I just thought, this is going to be kind of like reading some of Gretchen Rubin's work. I'm just going to kind of see myself a little bit in each one of these, and I'm just going to take a little bit from everything and apply it in whatever way is most helpful. I'm not going to be hindered by the fact that it's difficult to determine which one is me. And then they started describing type 4. And I lost my mind because I knew that it was me. If you want to check out this podcast, I'll link it down below. I continued listening. I heard a little bit of myself in type 5 and type 6 and type 7 and type 8 and type 9, but I knew that I was a 4. I was freaked out because I thought I was going to have to listen to all 9 types before I could go back and figure out which one was mine. But as soon as Suzanne Stabile started describing a 4 on that podcast, I was like, this is me. So then, of course, I needed to find this woman. I needed to purchase all of her work. I needed to dive headfirst into the Enneagram. I needed to understand what does it mean to be a 4 and everything. I needed to know everything. The very first thing that I did was I went and purchased their book. This book is The Road Back to You. It's by Ian Morgan Cron and Suzanne Stabile, who now amongst my friends and family, I refer to lovingly as Grandma because she has just such an important role in my life. She's got a podcast called The Enneagram Journey that I've listened to every single episode of, and she has a second book that's come out that I haven't purchased yet, but I am dying to get my hands on, called The Path Between Us. And I've purchased her MP3 Know Your Number workshop that she has available on her website. She's got a ton of resources available on her website. I'm so excited to keep studying with her. She's my favorite Enneagram teacher. I am trying to read books by various authors and get into the different traditions, try and wrap my head around all of it, but I just keep coming back to Grandma. Okay, so how did I discover the Enneagram? I tripped over a pebble a couple of times, and then I finally dove headfirst into the pond. I am full-on Enneagram lady. I talk with all my friends and family about it. I've listened to Suzanne Stabile's Know Your Number resource by myself a couple of times. I'm listening to it now with my husband, and boy, has that brought about some really awesome conversation. And I'm putting together a little small group of friends who are also passionate and excited about this, and they're going to come over to my house. We're all going to bring a journal and a pen, and I'm going to have coffee and tea and water, and I'm going to play these MP3s. We're going to listen to them together. We're going to take notes, and we're going to talk about it. And I think that there is something so utterly boring about that description, but it is just like sweetness to me. You know, I cannot wait to trap my friends in a room with me and to make them listen to this with me and to see what comes out of it, because I don't really know where it's going to take us. I just know that, you know, this tool is really helpful and that self-knowledge is transformational, and that sometimes this work that we have to do ourselves is best done in a group. If you know the Enneagram, it will be cool for you to know that I'm a 4, Nate's a 9, and if you don't know the Enneagram, then you've heard my advice. It's a deep dive. If you're interested, go and dive in. If you don't have time for that, that's okay. Maybe in the future, you'll be able to explore that, and maybe you'll be able to explore it with your loved ones too. If you already know about the Enneagram and you want the whole world to know your type, go ahead and put it in the comments down below. You guys are really awesome. It's been interesting to learn and discover about myself as I'm learning and discovering about what I want to do, about what I want to share on the internet, about where all this is going. Oh. So having you along for the ride is really special to me. If you don't like my content, Unsubscribe. Later, haters.